What's good, YouTube? It's your girl Faith, and I am back. I'm sorry for the long absence, the long time I've spent away from this channel. Just a lot's been going on over this last month, but it's okay because we're back and we about to hit the ground running. Today, I'm talking about the WNBA, the most hated sports league on this planet, hands down. And we're just gonna talk about a few things about the WNBA that I feel like you should know. So, without further ado, let's get into this video. The WNBA was founded in 1996 by then NBA Commissioner David Stern. The headline players of the league were Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, and Rebecca Lobo. The WNBA inaugural season was in 1997. The league began with only 8 teams: the Charlotte Sting, the Cleveland Rockers, Houston Comets, New York Liberty, Los Angeles Sparks, Phoenix Mercury, Sacramento Monarchs, and the Utah Stars. The Houston Comets reigned terror in the WNBA by winning the first 4 WNBA championships. Yes, 4 in a row, back to back to back to back. There are only 3 teams to ever win 4 WNBA championships: the Houston Comets, the Minnesota Lynx, and the Seattle Storm. There were many franchises to come and go. By 1999, the league was up to 12 franchises. Over time, they have seen a total of 18 franchises. By 2009, 4 of the original 8 teams that started the league had folded due to financial reasons, including the Houston Comets. Now that I've given you a little history about the WNBA, let me give you my insight. Growing up, I really didn't know what the WNBA was. Well, I knew it was basketball, obviously, WNBA, NBA, but I never, knew when they played, who played in it, what they were about, were they good, were they bad, what was going on. I really didn't know anything. I knew about some players. I would hear about Lisa Leslie, Candace Parker, Cheryl Swoops, the Houston Comets, since I am from Houston, but they folded 2008 and I was only 8. I'm fairly young, so really didn't know much about them. I really didn't get hipped into the WNBA or what it really was until about 2013, 2014 when Skylar Diggins had a very, very, very big social media presence. And even then, I still wasn't hipped into it. I wouldn't say it was because I didn't like the league. I would just say it's because it was a lack of coverage. I really never saw them. One summer, I was sitting in my kitchen, I was watching TV, and their All-Star game happened to be on television. And I was like, oh, isn't Skylar Diggins in the WNBA? Let me see if she's in the All-Star game. She was. I watched it, found out about some other players, but I never clicked back. And it's not that, like I said, it's not because it was boring, it was this or that. It was solely because I never knew when they played, never knew if their games were on TV, never knew how to watch them. And I feel like that's a problem. Representation matters because how can a young girl that has aspirations of playing basketball, how can she have a role model to look up to? Yes, they can look up to NBA players, but what about seeing someone like them? What about seeing a woman, a female that looks just like them doing what they want to do at a professional level, at a high level? I think that's really important. So over the years, never got to watch a regular WNBA game. I would see stuff online about some of the players in the league, but I never got to watch them. And of course I would see all the hate and all the criticism. So one day I downloaded the WNBA app and I was like, okay. I went on there. I was able to watch a previous game from like 2018. This was in 2020 I did this. Got to watch a previous game from 2018. And I was like, oh, they have some really good players, like talented basketball players. Like, I don't understand why people worry about dunking, but hey, we'll say that for another conversation. And I was like, you know what? This is really crazy. Like, they're actually very talented. They have, good players in their league. So I said, I'm making my mission to watch their 2020 season. Pick me a team. I'm going to watch. I'm going to support. So 2020 season came around. Chose to support Phoenix because Skylar Diggins-Smith, now Skylar Diggins-Smith, she is a member of the Phoenix Mercury. And I was like, okay, that's who I'm rocking with. Houston doesn't have a team. I'm not rooting for Dallas. I don't root anything Dallas in me. Nobody in my family does. So, chose Phoenix. Watched them. Watched almost all their games. I missed a few. And I enjoyed it. Learned more about the current players in the league and about, their top players, their up and coming players. And I really enjoyed their season. I hate the hate that I see on my timeline. I hate the criticism that I see on my timeline, because it's one thing to not like something, but it's one thing to just hate just because. And I don't think that's fair, because these athletes put in hours and hours and hours, and they produce very well. And the hate that they get, they literally could just wake up and they be like, oh, you're not an athlete. But they put in the hours. They put in the same amount of hours as these NBA players. One of the biggest things that I see on the internet and on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, Google, all of that, is their pay. The concerns about their pay, the wage gap. That's the biggest thing. Wage gap. Yes, they do make significantly lower and less money than the NBA, but people have to understand that the WNBA is only in their 25th season, and things don't happen overnight. Things don't happen in a few years. It takes time. So, obviously it has to grow, but as much hate as they receive, it's hard to do that. So I don't think WNBA players necessarily want to make as much as LeBron. I mean, they probably do. Like, who doesn't want to make that much money? That's a lot of money that these players make. But it's more numbers that are involved than what people see and take time to do research on. All they see is them complaining about money this, money that, money this, money that. And they be like, oh, you don't deserve that though. What makes you think you can get that? You don't do what they do. And instead of people taking the time out to, look into it or see why they're saying what they're saying, they just, completely disrespect them and everything that they do. But to sit and call the WNBA talentless is absolutely ridiculous. Just because they can't dunk doesn't mean they don't have talent. There's a lot of NBA players that can't dunk, and they're still one of the best in their position. So the hate has to stop. It has to stop. If you don't like it, just don't like it. Don't pay attention to it. Block it on your social media. Do whatever you need to do to make sure that you don't see it. But don't just be out here being a hater. Just ignore it. That's all I have for this episode. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, coming through. Hope I enlightened y'all about the WNBA just a little bit more. And to my WNBA fans, I see y'all out there. And I have more content coming for you all soon. Like, comment, subscribe, tune in. We out. Peace.